Michelle, my name is Biniam.
Oh, hi.
Nice to meet you as well, dear.
What happened to the weather?
I did not take responsibility.
I know, like you said a little bit, but this is like...
This is...
Wow.
Now,
Well, we need the moisture.
yes, we do. You're right. I mean, I've thoroughly been enjoying the warm weather, but there's been a bit of trepidation as I've been enjoying it because I've been wondering, is there a consequence to this?
If there's a what?
A consequence later on down the road,
yeah,
you know?
we need the moisture.
Yeah, so I am not begrudging that it is
No.
coming down. It just does give me a sense of like, eh. But I heard the rest of the week will be nice.
Yeah, I think so.
So I'm looking forward to that. This whole area is just developing, isn't
I know,
it?
right? Just boom.
It is coming in. I'm not sure what scent you're wearing, but it smells lovely.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. What's in your itinerary today?
Work.
A typical Monday then.
Yes, a typical Monday. Wow, is it ever built? I haven't gone down here. Wow.
Yeah, you're gonna have a whole bunch of new neighbors.
Oh my God. Wow, it's exploding.
You know, it just amazes me though how we've, I don't know, like how you're able to do all of this.
It's an interesting roof. Looks like a saddle dome mini.
Interesting indeed.
I don't know what happened.
No, I'm just intrigued by how we've been able to figure out, we as humans, how to infrastructurally like sequence all these things, right? And
Yeah, it's just like all of a sudden it just flowed. Well, we'll see what happens with the tariffs tomorrow.
oh, is that tomorrow? That decision?
Yeah.
Okay, and then today is when the Liberals find their new leader. Is that
Oh,
right?
is it today?
I think it might be today.
Yeah.
I think. I'm not sure. I've just been taken a lot more by the
Yeah, me
news.
too. I kind of just glance because I don't know. I look at the news, but I don't look at the news.
Right. I was following a lot more closely not too long ago, but then the latest thing that came and took the internet by storm, it seems to me, was the whole Blake Lively / Justin Baldoni saga. And that's the story that, funny enough, everyone says has united the left and the right in some way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and so there's been a lot of investment in that realm, it seems to me. So that's why I've kind of fallen off a little bit of keeping track of what's been happening elsewhere. To be certain, it has not been a boring season.
No, it's 2025 is off to an interesting start.
Yeah.
Not a dull moment.
Do you feel like collectively as humanity our resilience is growing ever since the pandemic, for example? Because remember, before the pandemic, there was a huge sort of anticipation, it seemed, because we were moving into a new zone called 2020, you know, and it was almost like that time when everyone's like wanting to make new calibrations and commitments and so on. But then I remember just before the pandemic, there was like the dip in the oil and gas industry, which was the catalyst for serious conversation, at least here, of diversifying the economy. And then the pandemic came and sort of took the front and center stage. And ever since, it's just been like, I don't know, like some significant challenges contextually, like that has been across the board for most, right? Do you think that the resilience has been growing as a result?
I think so. I do believe. Yeah. Our tolerance is up because I think, I don't know, going through that pandemic, that was
Uncertain.
yeah, very uncertain.
There's a lot.
Scary.
Yeah.
And for a first world country to be in that, it's always like, oh, it's going to happen somewhere else.
Right.
And for the whole world to be shut down.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was just a total.
I dare say that might have been the first time in history that collectively the whole world was on the same schedule, communication-wise, to
Yes.
say we're shutting everything down, right?
Yes.
Because there have been that kind of reach of technology to connect everyone's narratives together.
No.
That was really, yeah. And then interestingly enough, in the aftermath, I don't know, like I was thinking the previous significant world event probably was 9/11.
Yes.
I don't know what it would have been before then. So I was thinking like once upon a time we would have probably marked time by BC AD,
Yes.
and then it was post 9/11,
Yeah.
and now it's post pandemic.
Yes, and then I guess it was JFK.
Ah, that was
Yeah,
a
like
huge
those
one.
are markers,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, like
People-
significant ones.
Yes. Like
Exactly.
People, you could say, oh, where were you?
Sure.
Or when Princess Diana
That's-
passed
I was
away.
just
Like,
thinking
there's
about
different
that.
markers. Like those
Yeah.
are like, yeah. Or when the Queen died.
Yeah.
Like I still remember where I was. Not that she plays a big role in my life. You
Right.
know what I mean?
But significant as
Yeah.
far as cultural commentary.
Yeah, so where the world, you know, like Princess Diana, everyone was on that.
Yep.
You know, the Queen, the whole world was focused.
Right.
Yeah.
Although,
JFK.
I would almost say, like in my reflection, the Queen's wasn't as prominent as the Princess Di's
Oh, yes.
passing away. Like,
Yeah.
that was more toned down, it seemed, right? And then something that actually surprised me was even the story around Mother Teresa's passing away.
Yes.
That one that was, I think, eclipsed by another world event at that time. So, yeah, that one didn't even get the kind of coverage I thought it would have, given that other events, which I don't remember what
I
happened.
don't remember.
But there was something, though.
Well, I'll have to look it up.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Interesting.
Indeed, I agree.
It's just really interesting times. Like we're wading into, like the pendulum's not in the middle. It's not balanced, and it hasn't been for a while.
Yeah. What do you think is the significant, blatant telltale that we're swinging on extremes? Like, what's the factor that you see that is the catalytic momentum driver for that pendulum?
Well, I think I'm just going to be
Yeah,
simplified. I
Yeah.
think there's no respect.
I see.
I don't think there's respect.
Yeah.
There's no respect for
Yeah.
the prime minister, and they have no respect amongst each other. Do you know what I mean?
Right,
So
right.
that goes down, right?
Top
so when you go
trickle
to a
down.
hockey game, people
Yeah.
are booing, and when another
Yeah.
anthem's being
Yeah,
sung.
yeah.
There's so much disrespect, and then we expect the children to be respectful.
Right.
Well, it's a whole. It just funnels down. Right?
Yeah, yeah, I see that. It's a
So
really
I
good
know,
point.
like, I think always there was respect. Even
Yeah.
though people have different opinions or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? Which is, we have a free speech.
Yeah.
But there's no respect.
Agreed.
I think that's what's been lost along the way. Like, big time.
I agree with you. Especially that top-down effect. Yeah, because we like to think we're our own beings, but there's a lot of influence that's extended, and when we watch and take in those kind of models that are prominently displayed, that are very caustic and antagonistic in the way they engage, there's almost a sense where we say, okay, this is the lay of the land. We're going to take that as the norm now, which in some sense feeds and trickles right down, right?
And what also I saw a big change is
Yeah.
when reality TV came into effect.
Ooh. Oh my, I never saw. Okay.
Yeah,
I
because you think about reality TV,
Yeah.
and everybody wants to be, oh, I'm going to be Kim Kardashian.
Right.
Like, they have a big influence on, the world, actually. Like, women, men, everything. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
And people look at that as like, oh, that's what I want to become. Well, that's what I don't want to become. You know what I mean?
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, you have to stop and think, like, what are these people actually doing? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they're like, why are they influencers?
Sure, that's a great question.
Do you know what I mean?
Great
like
question.
Then,
It's a good question.
The phone,
yeah.
the cell phone.
Yeah.
This is a big thing too.
Okay, now what do you see with the phone?
Pardon?
What do you see with the phone? How did it impact? How did it?
Well, it's just part of our life. Like I grew up in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Did I?
Yeah, and we didn't have this.
Mm-hmm.
You had a landline,
Mm-hmm.
and you went out with your friends and everything, and you talked. Now everybody's, you know, when you go out for dinner, do you notice everyone's on their phone? Why are you going out for dinner or for coffee? Like they're on their phone. Like, okay.
Yes, I
So
agree.
it's taken over.
I agree.
Like TikTok and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
It's like it's good.
Yes.
Like I think it's more if you look at it as like entertainment.
Yeah.
Versus this is yeah.
See, I wouldn't on that front. I would agree with you in the sense that predominantly like the technology advanced so fast, especially
Yes.
in that form of technology that is consumptive, that it seems we didn't have a chance as it was progressing and as all these options became available. We didn't have a chance of like drawing lines or boundaries around saying, how can we use this well? Because it's a wonderful thing.
Oh, it is. It's amazing.
Until you lose perspective. For example, my favorite food is watermelon. Love watermelon. But because I've overindulged in the watermelon and I still love it as my favorite food, but my body has actually put limits on me now, saying you can only have so much now and no more. So I've overdone that indulgence.
Yeah,
For
exactly.
and I wonder if that isn't similar with, say, the cell phone, that we have given ourselves to it without maybe a sense of thoughtfulness and engagement that says, here's how much it is good, but here's when it's crossing the line into unhelpful consumption.
Yeah, like having boundaries.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Like having a healthy amount. It's just like,
That's a good point.
you know, it's just like everyone's on these diets or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, if you eat a balance, you know,
Yeah.
to me, it's like everything you have to do, there's a balance.
I agree.
Like if you go one way or the other.
Yeah.
Like, and everyone does it. Like
Yeah.
everyone does something one way or another.
Yes.
But then you've got to come back to the middle, right?
I agree.
And I think just having a balance.
Yeah.
And letting yourself enjoy a donut or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's like,
Agreed.
you know, having little vices along the way.
Yeah.
But not overdoing it. You know what I mean?
I agree.
And
Yeah.
that's hard. And
It's discipline.
it is. It's discipline, right?
That's the thing. It is. Yeah.
But then you also have to let yourself go a bit because the discipline can be hard. Like
Yeah.
I think you're not enjoying life. Do you know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
life should be spontaneous too.
Right. Yes. Like.
You have to have that in
Yeah.
like the little things.
Yeah. I almost consider that like the playful part of life.
Yes.
Where you get to say, I'm going to be here responsible for this
Yeah.
evening.
Yeah.
I'm going to enjoy the glass of wine even though I don't
Yeah.
drink or whatever
Yeah,
else, right?
exactly.
Yeah. And give yourself permission to do so, but knowing that there are bounds in which you contain yourself as well.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, back to the reality TV because that.
You're good with conversation.
I appreciate that. I'm enjoying it as well too. But with reality TV, I know the Kardashians to hear their name. I don't know why they became big and what space they took up on reality
It's just
TV. Marketing.
Yeah, it was that Seacrest. Ryan
Oh, I see.
Seacrest
Yeah.
took him,
Yeah.
took them in, and then he just blew them up.
Oh,
right?
no way.
Yeah, like
So-
I don't know the whole history either. I just kind of dabble.
Yeah.
But yeah, he blew them up. Like,
There's a name I haven't heard
It's
for
just
a while.
marketing.
Gotcha. Okay, I get that. What I have experienced of reality TV, like my sisters love reality TV, and they have compelled me to watch with them on many occasions. Oftentimes, I'm frustrated out of my mind when I enjoy watching.
Yeah.
I watch most other reality TV shows like 90 Day Fiance or Love Is Blind or these
that
other
Love
ones.
is Blind right now. Yeah,
Yeah,
because my
yeah.
daughter's
She's into that.
Yeah.
So as I watch those ones, though, the frustrating factor for me is I see these choices these individuals are making that are catastrophic, and it seems obvious, like which is a helpful way, but the way that they're being presented and the, I guess, turmoil, the train wreck that they're on, and you're watching it, and I don't know, I get impacted on a deeper level where I'm like, oh, I'm hurting for you, and I wish you wouldn't do that. And then I think about the context of what reality TV displays, and I'm almost at the point now where I'm suspicious that this is intentional, that these individuals are chosen for this element. And for many it might be entertaining, but even when I think about the curation of video content, I'm just thinking, what kind of producer would highlight someone's pain and so show like when they're not being their best selves for public ridicule? I'm just kind of affected by that. I'm thinking,
I totally feel the same.
this is like a private thing that I wish someone would be able to shield you from and say, hey, there's a better way. There's options here, instead of like watching the whole thing progress and you're like, oh.
It's the ratings.
Right.
It's for if you look, I think if you take reality TV and look at it as a fantasy, it's entertainment.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I hear you. I hear you.
I think it's basically based on pure entertainment.
Okay.
That's why they're showing all this, because how are they going to grab the people? How are they going to grab the audience? The audience in a like the wording maybe I'm not using right, but it's sick.
Yeah.
People like seeing other people almost suffer. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I hear you.
You know what I mean? I'm not the one, because I'm going, oh my God, that poor girl. What is she putting herself through? Like, just get up and leave.
Yeah.
But, and you're right, the producers, they should not be showing that. They should not be showing that person so vulnerable and exposing all of her. Like, she's got to still live in Minneapolis. Like, she's still got to live there. She's, after the show is finished,
this is her story. Absolutely. And everyone's going to know where the weak points are.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. And then these people sign up for it. So are they out there just for the fame and you know, hoping to, like, I don't know. Like, I would not want my life on television.
I wouldn't mind, like, my sisters have often said, Benny, we would love to see you in this one here and see how far you survive. And I'm like, I would love to be there. Again, just because I'd like to be that inoculation of saying, here's a better way. You know, just reasoning, showing what could. Exactly. I would love that. Although that would probably make bad TV, and hence I would not be selected for the said reason. But I do know, like, I used to be an English teacher. English is sort of my zone.
Oh, you're a teacher?
I used to be.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I told my kids I didn't like them, so just kidding. I'm teasing. But all that to say, a really good story, the premise of a really good story is how deep can you build that tension up? How, like, that climax, how steep can you make that climb to it? And to do that, it's the complexity factor. It's how you can continue to screw this story in a way that builds turmoil. So the greater the problem, the greater narrative you have. And so I can see why this is getting ratings. So back again to our earlier point about what it is that continues to keep us on that pendulum on extremes. The fact that we as a society find this kind of content entertaining when it's at someone else's expense is probably something else that's telling there. Instead of imbibing that sense of empathy, it's more like entertainment. Like, we're able to laugh or like really relish in someone's downfall, per se.
Yeah, and I think it's wrong. It's really wrong.
Yeah, there's something to be.
Like, there's something,
there's something there. There's something there, you're right.
Like, for what Trump did the other day.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my God. That is just like not what.
Oh.
Like,
that was painful.
Not been televised. So why did he televise that? There's underlying factors. There's motives for all this. Like, where is this going to take us, right? Like, or the United States and Ukraine and all this. Like, I think there's more to it.
Yeah.
Like, he did it for a reason.
Yeah, I hear you there. And I mean, regardless of where one stands, whether they're for or against, I think my real grievance in that scenario for one who's representing the country is why present that kind of engagement communication wise? Like, if you were to imagine that that's the model for most in engaging, there's just a sense of bullyishness there. There's a sense of lacking tact. There's a sense
Yes.
of acknowledging and differing with someone cordially. You can be deeply opposed to their perspective, but to even model what that looks like, not out of frustration and desire to vilify, but more so to say, hey, I think we have a different perspective on this one here, and I'm gonna still acknowledge your worthwhileness even while I disagree with what you're taking. Like, there's something there that was missed. It's an opportunity. Now, mind you, I don't look at him as an exemplar in this zone.
No. He's not refined. He should really, his 4 years, he should have gone to finishing school. No, really.
I hear you, but here's the thing. Like, on the one hand, he is a different mold from most regular politicians.
Yeah, well, he's a businessman.
He brings something different in the way he communicates and engages. Wonderful, but still, there's something to be said about that engagement that could show strength. It could show real power, not from the way that he was because what he was conveying was, here's how you show power, and you just show it in a way that leaves someone hurting. It was just unfortunate to watch.
Enraged.
Yeah.
So he's an example for the young people. He's an example for everyone because he's the president.
Yeah.
And you're right. He could have that was his opportunity to show the world this is how to be tactful, to be
absolutely
disciplined.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think even in our own politics as well too, on this side.
Oh yeah. That's another thing.
It is another thing, especially when I watch the leaders of all the significant parties really, but again, I'm looking for it. There's just this keen sense in which I watch, and I'm watching the trajectories of their contributions. But the specific thing I'm watching for, Michele, is where are the leaders who are able to stand up with strong points and disassemble their opponents' points, but do so in such a way that there's a cordial, hey, I acknowledge your point here. Yeah. And especially, when's the last time we were able to see, a politician, for example, acknowledge the opposing team's contribution, saying, by the way, kudos on this one here. You guys did amazing on this. We're so with you on this one here. On these other things here, we're so different in diet. But, in essence, it's almost the kind where you don't ever want to give them credit for anything, regardless of what they've contributed. And if we're all serving the same team, that's the populace. Yeah. Why not be able to have that vantage point that says, I can acknowledge when there's something worthwhile acknowledging, and do so with generosity.
Yeah. No, I totally agree.
So even then, here, there's always that presentation that says we're doing the right thing, we're standing for the right thing. But for me, what that right thing looks like is more so when you have the caliber on a personal level to engage with fairness. That says, oh, by the way, I want to acknowledge this.
Yes.
I want to give you full kudos for this. I think everyone should be looking at you as an example for X, Y, and Z when you did this. Thank you for your contributions, instead of always throwing shade and suspicion and narratives. Even if there is something worthwhile there, why not just deal with that in private, saying, by the way, when you say this or do this, it's not the best look, and I'd like you to hear from a friendly voice, for example.
Exactly. Well, that was just Vance, the
Vice President?
Yeah, the Vice President. He was just well, you should say thank you. You should have said thank you. Well, there was a way of that's not, you're not yelling at someone and saying, well, you should have done this. You should
I was surprised at that one. Really.
I was just shocked. Oh my gosh, it's like watching SNL live. It's a whole gong show.
Yeah.
It's sad.
Yeah, I agree. I
I really think we're going to be down to a few countries. I really do believe. I don't know, but I think 4 years from now, we're going to be having a different conversation. I don't think we're going to be Canada. I think we are going to be. I think Alberta will go first. I think, province by province will probably...
Chipping away.
Yeah, chipping away and going to the States. I don't know. But that's what I think.
Yeah.
Because he's got us. What are those tariffs going to be tomorrow? We don't even know the percentage, and then if it's the tariffs, it's always looming over Canada. So even if he puts the tariffs at 5%, but it's always looming. What is he going to do next?
Sure.
So that puts a black, a gray cloud over Canada.
Because of the unpredictability?
Yeah. So why are businesses going to be coming here? U.S. businesses.
Yeah.
They're going to be going out.
Yeah.
That's what they're predicting. Is
Yeah. Yeah.
that even like Calgary's going to be hit hard again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I don't know how much more Calgary can take, Alberta. With
Uh-huh.
oil, it's always oil and gas. So I don't know. Like that's what I think.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a whole different.
Yeah.
4 years from now, like is Russia going to take like how it looks now to me? It looks like Putin and Trump are really tight, and Russia, I don't know, will probably consume Ukraine. Like, I just see like this all just I don't know. It's a poker game. It truly is. It's a true or chess. Like you don't know what your opponent is. In Canada and U.S., we should never be like at odds like this ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have our differences and whatever, but like this.
Yeah.
This is crazy.
It is. I agree.
It's not right.
I agree. Yeah, it doesn't feel good. I agree.
And like you should be buying Canadian stuff. You should buy this. You should. It's like we're like it's just like we should be working together as a team. We're in 2025. We're not. I don't know.
I think personally I get concerned. Now, as I hear all this, I know there's some who are really affected at a very core level. Like this is depressing and really offsets like their forecast. It's very low. They're affected and impacted by news like this. I watch it with curiosity, and as I watch, I like watching the long term and the consistent parts about it. So I'm grateful it doesn't affect me in such a drastic way that way, even while I can watch and partake it. But I also do wonder about, I guess what I see being modeled especially that role whereby there is, when I'm not from this country originally, so I'm an immigrant once upon a time, I'm a citizen now. I've been here for years, decades. One of the things I've loved doing is being able to contrast cultures and saying, here's what I really value in the Canadian culture. Here's the parts I don't care for, and I know why I don't care for them, but I have insight into how to choose. And the same thing for my culture as well. It's not all rosy and so on. And I love being able to choose that way. And then it's something else I really appreciate is that conversation, Michelle, that says something like, when I get to meet someone from a different culture or a different country, in your observation, I'll ask, what have you seen in this setting here that Canadians do really well? That you would, if you could speak for your country and they listen to you, what would you encourage them to consider that we do well that they could learn from? And vice versa, what have you noticed, what could we be doing well in comparison when we look at your culture? I love those kind of conversations because now you're talking in a cooperative, contributing zone whereby you're actively looking at the best of someone else's contributions, right? And I often wonder what that could look like should that be modeled by our leaderships. Where you're seeing, like, for example, forums whereby they come together and say, oh, by the way, here's what I think our country could really learn from you guys by way of hospitality. You guys just nail it out of the park in this realm, for example, and they start, just kind of mining for those nuggets that could begin that process. They're almost like enriching our culture in essence, and vice versa. That's the kind of engagement that I'm keenly on the lookout for as I watch the state of affairs.
Yes, no, it's true.
In the midst of it all, though, as much as it seems like doom and gloom, there's this really strong core of optimism that continues to keep me chugging forward.
I think how I look at it is like what I said, a few minutes ago, is that I just kind of glance at the news. I have a high level, but I don't want to get too immersed because I think it will bring you down. So you kind of look at your own every day. Like, oh, it's snowing today, but look, the snowflakes are really, it's pretty. We need the moisture. Do you know what I mean? You flip it, and you have a positive outlook. And everybody's got, everyone's got have their things that
Yeah.
they're going through.
Yeah.
But you really have to, like, I don't know, stay in the moment and enjoy, because life is short. It is really short. It
So
goes
true.
by really
So
quick.
true.
And you could just stay in the doom and gloom, and yeah, that's not good.
What I like about what you're saying is, one, there's self-care and knowing how much you can take in before it starts impacting, and you're like, I'm going to regulate that. So that's
Yes.
brilliant. Secondly, I also love the fact that you have access to different storylines. So the storyline for most is all they can see is in front of them. They're like, this sucks, this is all
Yeah.
this, and they only see the one storyline. But then if you have access to another storyline, you're able to say, but here's the contrast. This is the one choice I have to stay in the doom and gloom category over here as far as but then there's also the other side that says, oh, this is actually quite beautiful in its own way, and can I
Yeah.
see and experience it in that space?
Yeah.
That's a superpower, I'd say, right? That's a really, really cool thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's lessons along the way that you grow and you become, like, I don't know, like, it's your certain stages of your life too that, you know, you go through adversity or whatever, and then you go and you have to go through certain things too, and it makes you grow and you evolve, and I think that's how people should look at it, is that we're always evolving, right?
Absolutely.
Like, the world's evolving, so
It is change.
so yeah, so if Canada does become part of US, it evolves. Like, if you look back, we, you know, all
Yep.
these countries they
Yeah.
became, like,
Yeah.
whoever thought that,
Yeah.
you know, the euro,
Yeah. Would be.
like, whoever thought all of, you know,
Yeah.
Europe was going to have the
Sure.
euro,
Yeah.
right? That caused major upheaval.
I thought something similar along the lines of, right now the world power would be the US, but I can conceptualize how change being a part of the guaranteed dynamic, humans at the very core level, but societies and empires and so on, I like that. Over time, there's change, right? And like you were saying, history is replete in these massive shifts and evolutions in world powers. Right now, it's currently being the US in our lifetime, for sure, in such a way that we think this cannot be toppled. Like, this is just so dominant. Even think of the richest man once upon a time was Bill Gates, and I never thought he would ever be toppled for the richest man, and now we've got quite a few others who are in the running, and still that's an evolution there too, you know. China used to be the most populated place once upon a time, and now it's India apparently, and like, there's just so much such a shift. So I've made space in my preparation internally of what that change could look like when we're not the world power, when the Western world maybe meets its downfall for something different potentially. And so, like, when it does happen, I don't think it'll take me with surprise, just because, again, there's a space of preparation that I was making, that this is change, and sometimes we just aren't in control of them as much as we like to think we are.
Yeah, and there's just things like that pandemic, we had no control over it, and so I think in a way that was, they were preparing us for something else. I don't know what that is or what, and you know, that's a conspiracy theory or whatever, but you know, there's, you know, I think you're right, like, you always have to have that room of, you know, there is always going to be change. That's how life is, and I think the people that get very bitter and, you know, they don't like change, but change,
it's inevitable.
It's inevitable. Like, it just happens.
So true.
It doesn't matter. It's
So
just
true.
like the weather here, I think. You know, Calgary, you know, at 11 o'clock it'll be sunny, or it could, you know, we could have a huge, you know, it could be 40 centimeters of snow or whatever. But you know what I mean? It's just an analogy of the weather. You just never know, right?
So true. Michele,
yes.
I've really enjoyed the conversation.
Oh, me too.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're really good at
Thank you. I have
conversing.
one more question for you. One more question, and this one here, I would love to hear a no answer if that's your instinctive response. When I don't do Uber, this is my primary job here. One of the things I love doing is sharing ideas on the internet in the form of video. I love being able to reach people with, like, really solid ideas. This conversation has been such a beautiful one too. I would love to share it, but I never share anything unless I have what I call enthusiastic consent. That's why I say, if your response is one that's like, this is not my jam, I want to honor that as well, with enthusiasm as well. would you be open to allowing me to share our time together and our conversation on my platform online? This will be going in video. I have two options on that front. One where it's just me on the screen, or if you're open to being on the video as well too, I have like my security cameras as well too. But I want to honor like whichever one you feel comfortable, even if the answer is that's not my jam, because that's something I will also love modeling what consent looks like.
I would say that if you wanted to do it, I would not want to be on camera.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're okay with me capturing your voice on like to share online
Sure,
on
as
just
long
this one
as
here?
my last name's not involved.
It's not at all.
Yeah, then
No.
what's your platform?
I haven't asked you for your last name, your bank
Yeah.
account number.
No.
I'm happy. Let me show you. Here's my card. This is me,
Okay.
and those are the platforms that I'm on, just on the left there, and that gives you a place where you can see what I do when I'm not driving Uber, and how I like sharing a little bit that way. But as long as that yes is something that you feel okay with, you're not going to be on video. I'm going to honor that too.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
I appreciate that. This must be such a hassle coming into this neighborhood, given that that bridge is still down, eh?
Yes. Oh my goodness. Vancouver just had another earthquake.
No way.
Yeah,
Are you serious? What was the...
I don't know. She just said there was another earthquake.
That's crazy because Vancouver is such a...
Yeah, well, it actually moved the building the other, like last week.
Yeah, and
I
like...
could feel it. It was like by Squamish there.
Yeah.
And then, yeah. It was like 5.
That's sketchy.
I don't know what it was now. Okay, this is good.
Did I stop at the right place?
Yeah, I just have to go to school there, but this is
Gotcha.
fine. Okay.
Nice to meet you,
Yeah,
dear.
nice meeting you.
Hope to see you again.
Yes. Take care.
Have a
Bye.
good Monday.
You too.
Thank you.